I'm not atheist, I'm not theist, I'm not deist, I'm maybe skeptic. Certainly I'm rational, and I try to give rational responses. Like, for example, one atheist asked me, what should I do when a person of faith challenges me, saying that he can prove the existence of God just by using reason, and wants to challenge me to see who wins the argument, and my response is and would be, don't engage because you're doomed to be beaten. And this is the paradox. So I'm going to explain this paradox briefly. This is what I wanted to say, which is probably different from what many people of no faith would answer. But rationally, this is my response to that, and I think I will show that how this is a reflection of the fact that it is a no argument. Is it a void? It's a not well posed question, and not well posed context, of course. So let me make a digression here. I am extremely close to several people of faith, extremely close. Most of the people that I know who believe in God are very reasonable people. They're very tolerant and very respectful of me and of others. Some are just a fraction of them are more radical than others, but overall I think they're very liberal in their belief, but still they belong to some organized group. So this is because I want to clarify that I have no issue with believing in God, for two reasons. One is that at least the persons I'm close to show that they are good people, so I don't see any bad sign of their belief in God. The second reason why I don't judge people is that I know that life is very complex and the human being is very complex, so I have no power to judge belief in God, because first, life is difficult and it poses difficult questions, and some people may find answers that are compatible with their psychology and their difficulties, and at the same time our physiology is complex. So if many people believe in God, I don't know how much it is connected to our to evolutionary instances or to social instances. So I'm in no position to judge belief in God. However, I'm very skeptical, I'm very critical, and even more than that, sometimes with organized religion. The thing per se might not be wrong, just organizing religion, although I find it very discomforting personally that some other individual might abrogate to himself a better knowledge of God, so that he would tell other people what God wants. So I don't see this means diminishing the personal experience of God. So I personally am very skeptical per se in this towards these people. But then, if there were no backdraws, I wouldn't argue with that. But then, history has proven that, as in the case of any other ideology, when the ideology or the belief system becomes stronger than personal identities, than personal feelings, and then if there some belief is imposed almost by authority by some individuals, then and then the truths proposed are presented as being more important than other values that pertain to the human sphere, then of course I have an issue with that, because historically it's a very dangerous path to take. It has proven to be so. Like almost, like most ideologies, also hide dangers, because when the ideology becomes more important than the personal critical way of thinking, then it can become a threat to society. I would go as far as to say that even atheism itself, if it becomes an ideology, and leaders propose some superior truths in the name of the atheist theology, of course I would make the prediction that this could also cause conflicts in the future. All that said, of course, I have no problem with people believing in God just because they want to believe in God, although I do have a problem with what I was talking about at the beginning, which is the pretense to prove the existence of God through rational arguments. The problem in here, I don't know, most people that I know that are people who believe in God are actually aware that it is faith that drives their belief. Then the role of reason becomes to put the pieces of the puzzle together, but they're aware that in the first place they have faith, and without faith they would even start to use reason to put the pieces together. So I think this is perfectly understandable, because once you believe in God, you want to put the pieces together, of course, and there are many rational ways you can do that once you postulate the existence of God. Totally different situations, what the existence of God. Well, some people say that the existence of God is not postulated, but we can prove it. Then at that point, of course, then I'm out of this discussion. I don't discuss this because I don't think it's worth discussing it. And for the following reason, of course, God is also an expression of our fears about what will happen when we die. It's also a response to the injustice that we see. So we cannot bear the fact that some people are treated unequally. So we believe that after we die, justice will be made. And then also this is another frequent way God is seen. So there are difficult instances in life that are difficult to accept. So this is a response. God is a response to this, and it is conveniently placed in the afterlife. One place is displaced is in the afterlife because nobody has come back from being dead. No one has come back to tell us what happened, so we themselves don't know. So we won't be disproven either way of what we think about will happen after we die, although it is very apparent at the same time that God is placed everywhere we cannot reach him. So he plays at the beginning of everything because it's a past, it's the very past that we cannot access with our senses. It's placed also in interventions through prayers, but all the hand of God is also conveniently said to be metaphorical. We don't see his hand, so he's invisible. He's in the places where we cannot reach him. So the reason why I was saying a rational argument is doomed to fail, in the sense that someone who doesn't believe in God is doomed to be beaten by someone who believes in God. The reason why he would be beaten is because the person who believes in God sets the rules in the first place. In the first place, he conveniently, because of his personal belief, so he does that because of himself, of his needs to believe, and then he conveniently places God where it can be reached, so that in any discussion, God will always be where we cannot see him, and we cannot beat this person in a rational argument, because of course there is no argument there. There is no rule, no objective rule that is at work. This is why I get very angry with the creationist argument that says, were you there? Of course. This is a very interesting question, because you put God in the first place there because we couldn't access it through direct senses, and then the different stances that of science that instead walks all around, giving answers to the present, recent past, the remote past, and the future.